Good evening, friends, and my good wishes to all of you on the International Happiness Day. It coincides with the International Happiness Day, and the whole purpose of life, according to me, is to be happy. When I say you must add life to your years, that is what I actually mean. It is not just the existence. We have to live every moment, make this life very eventful, very joyous. And that is why I have chosen this topic, adding life to your ears, to our ears. Essentially, friends, as it is said, the ultimate goal of every individual is to be happy. We all seek ananda. We want to be happy in life. So essentially, in order to be happy, in order to add life to our years, because a saying goes like this: life is too short, make it sweet. Enjoy every moment. You must be happy, make others happy. In fact, fundamentally, our culture talks about this. It says if you can make others happy, you can be happy. I am fond of this particular saying in Sanskrit: Santosham janayet pragnaha tadeva ishvara pujanam. If you can make one soul happy, that is the greatest worship of the Lord. And I believe in this. So in order to be happy, we have to make others happy. When I say make others happy, I don't mean that, you will have to please everyone, try to do everything that they expect from you. That is not the way in which we will have to be happy. If I can make one soul happy, another definition of success that I very recently read is you are successful if you can make one soul happy a day. So every day, if we can make one soul happy, we are successful. And that success gives us joy. And when you have the joy, your life is joyous, you are living. It is not merely existence, as I was telling you earlier. So once you are joyous, I'm sure you are adding that spirit to the life. And this is very, very important. It is not the number of years that matters. The quality of our life is very, very important. That is of paramount importance to all of us. So essentially, we have to have this as the objective, the goal in life. To do this, friends, I need to share certain tips with you, which according to me are practical. I am not suggesting anything which is impractical. Fundamentally, I would like to start with a mantra which is called Serenity Mantra. The Serenity Mantra says, you must have the will to change what you can, courage to accept what you cannot, and the wisdom to know the difference between the two. So if I have the will to change that I can, I will certainly be able to clear all the obstacles that would come my way. And second is, you must have the courage to accept what you cannot change. There are certain things that I cannot change. There are certain things that are impossible to me. I must accept that. So once I know that there are certain things that I cannot change and I accept, most important quality for any individual to be happy is that acceptance. You must be ready to accept. As it is said, don't expect, but accept. The problem is some of us expect too much from everyone. And if they don't live up to our expectations, we feel disappointed. So best thing is to accept. Accept every individual as he is or she is, you will be very happy. And the third element of the mantra says, you must have the wisdom to know the difference between what you can change, what you cannot change. So you have the will to change what you can and courage to accept what you cannot. and the wisdom to know the difference. Once we have this, friends, I'm sure we have created a platform where we can certainly start our journey towards happiness. And that is the goal, as I was telling you, the ultimate goal of every individual. How to do this? How should I add life to my years? There is a wonderful saying in English: nothing has ever been achieved without enthusiasm. So fundamentally, friends, we must be enthusiastic. Whatever you do that with full involvement. Do that mindfully and enjoy doing it. Once you do this, obviously the quality of the output will be extremely good, excellent, because you're involved, you like doing it, you enjoy doing it. Once you enjoy doing it, obviously the best will come out. And the whole purpose, once again, is to offer our best. That is ultimate in spirituality. Whatever I do, I must give my best. That must be the fundamental principle, and that is the foundation. That is why I said we start with the serenity mantra. Once you know this, you practice, you will certainly be ready to be enthusiastic. What is this enthusiasm? Of course, I will not dwell in detail, in depth, but what is very important is we must know that enthusiasm is nothing but the fire within us, the spirit within us that would keep us going joyously, going purposefully, and that is enthusiasm. A great orator and writer by name Andrew Carnegie. Most of you will have read Dale Carnegie. Another equally popular writer and speaker, inspiring speaker, was Andrew Carnegie, an American. He had a wonderful daughter, a very good looking, very fair, very good looking daughter, only one daughter. Andrew Carnegie was a very rich man, perhaps multi-trillionaire, very rich man in America. He had only one daughter, and she was of marriageable age. So one day, he calls all the eligible bachelors of the town to his place and says, anyone who proves to me that he has in him what I want him to have, anyone who proves to me that he has in him what I want him to have, will have three choices. Number one, $10 million in cash, or 100 acres of my best land, or hand in marriage of my only daughter. Three choices. Saying this, he takes all of them to a swimming pool. It is of the Olympic size, a huge pool, and all the eligible bachelors line up. And he says, anyone who takes the dive at this end and comes out from the other end first will prove to me that he has in him what I want him to have. So all the eligible bachelors are ready to take the plunge. And he says, before you take the plunge, I must share a piece of information with all of you. And all of them are very eager to dive. They look at him and he says, there are 10 crocodiles in this pool which have not been fed for the last 15 days. That's it. That's the announcement. No sooner he said, many retreated. Many of them, came back. But there was a gentleman, a young boy, who was already in the pool, creating a big splash. He is swimming very fast. Crocodiles are chasing him. And one of the crocodiles was about to catch him. And in the nick of the time, this boy is out of the pool. Andrew Carnegie is so happy. He runs across, hugs him and says, my dear young boy, I knew that you have in you what I wanted you to have. Now tell me, what do you choose? $10 million in cash, The boy is exhausted because he was swimming very fast, trying to avoid the crocodiles. Perhaps, had he swam like this in Olympics, he would have got a gold medal. That was the pace in which he was swimming. He was so exhausted, he was not able to speak. Taking a breath, he said, huh, huh. Then Andrew Carnegie said, okay, you want 100 acres of my best land? To that also the boy says, huh. He was not able to speak, exhausted. Then Andrew Carnegie says, my dear young boy, I am extremely happy. You are not only enthusiastic, you are also a very wise boy. You know that if you marry my daughter, you will inherit all my property. So why should you choose? I'm very happy. You are really good. Not only enthusiastic, you are very wise, you are very intelligent. Saying that, he hugs him. To that also the boy says, huh. Andrew Carnegie is surprised, and then he asks him, tell me, what do you want? Taking a deep breath, the boy says, sir, tell me the name of the bastard who pushed me into the pool. And Andrew Carnegie says, friends, this is the message for all of us. Forget the incident, forget the story. He says, enthusiasm is not getting pushed. You must take the plunge. You must dive. And that is very important. And he makes one more wonderful statement. I wish all of us take this to our hearts. He says, go to the cliff and jump off. Go to the cliff and jump off. You will develop your wings on your way down. Let us not try this literally. What he means is, don't wait for so-called Shubha Galige, so-called the opportune time, so-called the sacred time, auspicious time. No, he says, now is the time. As Purandara Dasa says, Indina dinave Shubha dinavu, Indina Galige, Shubha Galige, E Galige, right now. So he says, go to the cliff, jump off, don't worry. You will develop your wings on your way down. What a beautiful saying. And that must be the spirit with which we lead our life. As I was telling you earlier, it is not existence, friends. Every moment, we are lucky we are born as human beings. So we must utilize, we must make use of every second, every incident, everything. I request all my friends to practice some small things from now on or from tomorrow morning itself. I want you to get up early, have your sip of coffee. When you have your sip of coffee, do it mindfully. Get involved. Every sip of coffee on your tongue must give you the taste. Your nose must recognize the aroma of the fresh coffee, and your mind must feel relaxed. And you watch the sunrise, watch the birds, their activity, listen to their chirping music, wind blowing, water flowing, whatever it is, wherever you are. Please, for a few minutes, totally get involved. You start your day like this. And if possible, have the Suprabhatam in the background. MS Subbulakshmi's Suprabhatam in the background, I'm sure, makes the whole atmosphere so joyous. And you must get involved in doing it. Friends, our life is full of small things. Small things. As Michelangelo says, when he was painting his last painting, perhaps the Last Supper was his last painting, and by then his eyesight had also become a little blur because of the paint falling in his eyes. He finished it, and he was painting it on the ceiling, and one young man comes to him and says, "Sir, why do you worry about so many small things in life? People who stand on the ground and when they look at the ceiling, they may not observe small mistakes. So why are you worried about it?" And Michelangelo, I'm told, holds that person by his collar, lifts him up. Imagine this. He holds him by the collar, lifts him up, and says, remember one thing in life, trivials make perfection. So do not ignore, don't think it is trivial matter. That is what is very important to make our life worthy. So small things like this, you must enjoy. And that is what is the beginning of adding life to our years. Because we Indians, we believe that we cannot add years to our life. You know, our number of years is determined. And Yamadharmaraya will not even give 1 second more to us. So why waste this? So essentially, whatever is the number of years that we live, let's make use of it. And this is the fundamental aspect which is very, very important for all of us. As I was telling you, this is of paramount importance. Further, friends, as I was telling you, certain practical tips in order to make our lives very comfortable, very happy, and then, make others' life comfortable and happy. What is that we need to do? Fundamentally, friends, I'm sure many would have spoken to you about this. Most of you will have read about it, but still, I must mention that what is very, very important to add life to our years is we must develop a positive outlook, that positive attitude. When I say positive attitude, that doesn't mean that, I must always expect the best to me. No. The best will always not happen to all of us, none of us, perhaps. But what is very important is I must change my outlook towards life. How do I look at it? If I get a problem, how do I look at it? And that is why it is said, being positive is not expecting a rosy life. You must understand that the rose comes with thorns, and that is very important. So we have everything in life, but how do I take it? That depends on our attitude. Two ladies were talking to each other. One lady said to her friend, the other lady, I am fed up with my husband. He is totally absent-minded. He forgets my birthday, his birthday, our children's birthday, our wedding day, everything he forgets. Anything that I tell him to fetch when he comes back, he forgets. I'm fed up. I have decided to divorce. To this, the other lady also says, my husband is equally like yours. He is also absent-minded, totally absent-minded, forgets everything. But I'm very happy with him. To that, the other lady asks her, happy with him? For what? She says, look, whenever we go out, I tell him, today is my birthday, and he will get me a gift. And sometimes I have 5 to 6 gifts a month. So I'm very, very happy with him, Now look at it, friends. It may be a very small, a humorous incident, but look at it. Essentially, she has looked at the positives, not the negatives. So essentially, friends, this is positive attitude. I must learn to take things, and as I was telling you earlier, let us not expect too much. Let us accept whatever comes our way and look at the brighter side of it. This is essential. And in order to be happy, in order to add life to our years, there are certain things that we must avoid. I request, please avoid anger. I have heard people telling me, they take pride in saying, I'm short-tempered. I tell them, it is not a virtue, it is a weakness. If you lose your temper for certain trivial issues, It is certainly a weakness and we must overcome. You know, Aristotle says you can be angry with anyone for any reason. Very easy. But he says it is very difficult to be angry with the right person in the right degree, for the right reason, at the right place. Remember this. It is very easy to become angry. Let's learn to manage our anger. If you're angry for a minute, you lose happiness for 60 seconds, your happiness. And not only that, friends, I want you to remember, if you're angry for 1 minute, I repeat, if you're angry for 1 minute, about 46 chemical changes take place in your body, which would affect your health. So I must have concern for my health. If I am not healthy, I certainly cannot add life to my years. So in order to be healthy, I must learn to manage anger. Our ancestors have given wonderful, simple techniques. You know, they say, count 1 to 10. Drink a glass of cold water. Why? Even psychologists today say the same thing. Why? Because it is just an excuse to buy time. Your mercury will have gone up. You count up to 10, the mercury drops. You drink a glass of water, sip by sip, you're buying time, the mercury drops. Or the best thing is, please move out of that place. Do not say anything. Do not discuss. Do not argue. Just go. After some time, when you know that the other person is cool, come back, have a heart-to-heart discussion. And I would always suggest, never enter any argument. If you enter any argument, it is said you have the risk of losing both the argument and the relationship. So why unnecessarily argue? It is very important that I learn to be silent when I should be silent. That is the golden principle in communication. People talk, and we must know that we have to maintain silence when we should maintain silence. And you know what? Whenever you talk, it is not to impress. It is only to express. If I remember this, I will not enter into any unwanted argument. So let's avoid this and let's be happy. In fact, nowadays, they suggest one more technique. They say, count up to 15 if you're angry with your subordinate. Count up to 15, 1-5, if you're angry with your subordinate. Count up to 20 if you're angry with your own colleague who is on the same pedestal, same rank. Count up to 30 if you're angry with your boss, your superior. And they say, count up to 40. Count up to 40 if it is your husband. And if it is your wife, they say, keep counting. Don't talk at all. That is the technique they suggest. Keep on counting so that, you know, everything becomes normal. Essentially, friends, we must overcome this anger. And today, everyone, once again, you know, talks about stress. And I, for one, would say, you can't avoid stress. What you should avoid is distress. Because people talk about stress management. I say, you will have to avoid distress. You know, we have what is called as eustress. EU. Eustress is anxiety, little anxiety. For instance, today I am making a presentation. I am talking to you. I come with preparation. I have that anxiety. How do I deliver? What would be the response? How would they receive? This anxiety I always have. So you must have some little anxiety so that you try to give the best. Otherwise, you know, complacency sets in. Moment you become complacent, your efficiency drops. So to some extent, that is necessary. But you must avoid what is called distress. Too much of stress beyond a limit, it is highly dangerous and you must avoid. And friends, today, not only psychologists, even practicing physicians, cardiologists, neuroscientists talk about four very important chemicals, four very important enzymes that are secreted in our brain, which would make us really happy. And I will tell you, let's go one by one. First of all, I want you to remember one short form, one formula. It's called dose, DOSE. One dose. One dose of what? First is, you will have to take what is called dopamine. And this one is what is called an enzyme which is produced in your brain, the chemical which is produced in your brain, which automatically enhances when you have achieved something, when you have created something, when you're celebrating something. Obviously dopamine is produced in your brain and you feel happy. These are all happy chemicals. Then the next one is oxytocin. Oxytocin is what is called the love chemical, which is very, very important for all of us. This love chemical, friends, when I talk about love, I always tell people, we Indians, in our culture, when we talk of love, we talk of love without any expectation, without anything in return, no expectations, motherly love. It has to be pure. That is why we use the term motherly love. The mother will not expect anything in return when she does something for the child. We also use one more expression. We say love is blind. But unfortunately, our youngsters use this in a different connotation. When we say love is blind, I was impressed, I was very happy when an elderly man told me why we say this. He said, the mother starts loving the baby much before she has seen the baby. That's the wonderful thing only a mother can do. It is still in the womb. She doesn't know anything about the child. She doesn't know about the gender of the child. She doesn't know about the complexion. She doesn't know about the weight. Nothing is known. But she starts loving the baby much before it has come to this earth. That is why we say love is blind. And that love I talk about. We must have this love, pure love. Love everyone. When we say love thy neighbors, love your neighbors, what we mean is this. It is not, in the cinema language, or it is not about infatuation. It is not about the physical attraction. It's pure love. And that is why we say, if you should have more of oxytocin, play with a child like a child. When you play with a child like a child, the child expresses its love. And that intensity of love will make you happy. And the brain automatically releases more oxytocin. You can hug, when I say hug, of course, our culture has certain restrictions. I cannot hug, my grown-up daughter, or I cannot hug a stranger, irrespective of the gender. Of course, for various reasons, not only spiritually speaking, not only from our practice, even hygienically. So, it is very important. If I can hug a young child or an old man or an old lady, it is absolutely nice. They will be expecting this. I must know the limitations. And now psychologists also say, if you do not have somebody, play with your pet. It could be a dog, it could be a cat, or whatever it is. And of course, I, for one, don't suggest this, but today psychologists talk about it. Anyway, since they talk about it, I need to share. So we have to. Once you do this, your brain automatically releases this chemical. That makes you happy. That makes you very, very comfortable. So you are adding life to your ears. You're joyous, you're enthusiastic. It reminds me of a story that I have read long ago in the Reader's Digest, one of the very popular monthly magazines. A very rich man goes to a florist. He inspects the entire shop, selects one very big bouquet, perhaps the biggest bouquet in the shop, and gives a card and tells the salesman, "You must have this delivered to my mother. Today is Mother's Day. I want you to have it delivered to my mother. This is the address." He gives the card. And the salesman says, "Yes, sir. We will deliver this within half an hour." And maybe she was living maybe about a few kilometers away. And in a place like America, you can travel very fast. In a jiffy, you can cover 50, 100 kilometers. So probably that was the distance. The salesman says, "Yes, sir, we will have it delivered within half an hour." And this man, after paying the bill, comes out of the shop. And to his surprise, he would see a very young girl sitting near the door and crying. He takes sympathy, goes to her, and asks her, "My dear child, why are you crying?" And the child looks at him and says, "Sir, today is Mother's Day." And this man says, "Yes, I know, today is Mother's Day, but why are you crying?" And this little girl, she says, "Sir, I don't have money with me. I want to present a rose to my mother. I love her so much. I want to buy a rose, but I don't have money." Taking pity, this rich man holds the hand of the child, takes the child inside the shop, florist shop, and tells the child, "Select any bouquet. Don't worry about the price. I will pay for it. I will pay for it. Select." This little girl goes around the shop, selects one single rose, perhaps the cheapest of all the flowers that were kept in the shop, and says, "Sir, I want this." This man once again says, "Don't worry about the cost. I am paying. Select anything that you want. Why only this single rose?" The child says, "No, sir, I am very happy. I am thankful to you. I remain grateful to you throughout my life. I will never forget you. I will never forget the nice gesture." And then the man comes out after paying the bill. He comes out. The child once again thanks him and says, "Sir, can you please help me cross the road?" This man holds the hand of the child, helps the child cross the road. Now this man has become very curious. He wants to know where the child is going. The child, after crossing 2, 3 small lanes, enters a cemetery. This man is surprised. He would stand near the gate of the cemetery and he is watching. This girl goes to a freshly dug up grave, and this child places the single rose, kneels down with folded hands, with tears in the eyes. The child says, "Mommy, I love you, Mommy. Today is Mother's Day, Mommy. Happy Mother's Day, Mommy. I love you." This man immediately realizes his mistake. He has tears in his eyes. He runs back to the florist shop, meets the salesman, and tells him, "Look, I have placed an order for delivery. Please don't have it delivered. I have already paid for the delivery. Don't worry about the cost. Give that bouquet to me. I will carry it myself." He carries that, goes to his mother's place, rings the doorbell. The mother opens the door. He falls at her feet. Eyes is full of tears, tears rolling down his eyes. The mother looks at him, hugs him, and says, "Sonny, why did you come all the way? For you, time is money. Money is time. Why did you waste your time coming all the way to this old lady? Like, the previous years, you could have sent the bouquet to me through the courier, through the agent. Why did you take the trouble of coming all the way?" And this man cannot control his emotions. He says, "Mummy, please forgive me. Hereafter, I will not commit that mistake. I will be with you for the entire day." He promises her, he stays with her, and then he tells his mother, "Mummy, that young girl taught me today the real value of love. But for her, I would not have come. I must thank that girl who taught me all about love. And now I feel so happy because I'm with you." So, friends, love is this. Love is divine. Love is motherly love. And that moment you love somebody, as I was telling you, it's nothing to do with infatuation, getting attracted to somebody. It must be pure love. I must have that capacity to love my fellow beings without mixing any issues, without expecting anything. And that love produces that oxytocin in your brain. You feel so happy. You're charged with happiness. And that will certainly make you joyous. And that is what is living. It is not merely existing. The next chemical, friends, which is very important for all of us, is serotonin. Serotonin is produced when we are with nature. As I was telling you earlier, if you can have your sip of coffee, enjoying a sunrise, listening to the music of the chirping of birds or flowing water, if it is a rainy day, enjoy that sound of rain. Enjoy the sound of the breeze. Enjoy the chillness of the breeze. And sometimes you must also have the ability to listen to the music of silence. All this produces serotonin in your body, in your brain, and you feel so relaxed. Your nerves are soothed. And what else do you want to be happy? You're happy. You're adding life to your life to your ears. And friends, when I say serotonin, I must share this with you. In Japan, they have a wonderful phrase. It's called Shinrin Yoku. Shinrin Yoku in Japanese means forest bathing. When we say forest bathing, let's once again not take the literally meaning of it. It's not going and taking bath in the forest. What it says is, you just go to a wooded area. In Bangalore, we have some lung spaces like Lal Bagh or Kabban Park or mini forest in Jayanagar and so many such small, wonderful parks, thanks to N. Lakshman Rao, one of the highly accomplished civil servants that Bangalore has seen. During his time, he designed and he gave the concept of Baulwa in Jayanagar. Jayanagar is considered to be one of the very well planned localities in the whole world. So we have such places. Go to any wooded area, sit quietly for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Sit quietly, do nothing. You need not even practice pranayama there. Just sit quietly, close your eyes, open your minds, close your eyes, open your minds, open your ears, and listen, listen, listen. And when you have enough of it, open your eyes, look at the wonderful creature of a Brahma or God. You have so beautiful creatures. If you can look at the different shades of green, now is the springtime and you will see a lot of greenery and different shades of green when you look at a tree or a plant, and some of them are in bloom. Enjoy that. And that is what they mean by Shinrin Yoku. That is forest bathing. And I must also share one of the very interesting facts, friends. In America, in the early 60s, 1960s, early 60s, almost all the states had a lot of patients with heart problem. Every state, except one small settlement, which was called Rossetto settlement. And this Rossetto settlement, people had come from Italy and they had settled down in a particular locality, and that is why it was called Rossetto settlement. And the doctors and the scientists found out that the people who were living in the Rossetto settlement, most of them, majority of them, did not have any heart ailment. They were all very happy, very contented, very peaceful, very healthy. Doctors and scientists wanted to find out what is this which makes them so happy. And the result is astonishing. When all other states, people had heart ailments, alarming rate, this settlement was very healthy, very happy. And they found out that people living in this settlement, Rossetto settlement, they were living like a well-knit community with that what is called paraspara manobhava, harmonious living, paraspara manobhava. They were living so harmoniously and they were living very close to nature. Elders were respected, women were respected, and that is why scientists came to know that they were healthy, they were very happy. And today, psychologists talk about this as a model, Rossetto settlement as a model. If all of us can live, love everyone in the community, love everyone in the family, and live close to nature. When I say close to nature, I don't mean that all of you must get out of Bangalore. No, in Bangalore, you must try to live closely with nature. What we can do, you can have some plants at home. If you have some space all around the set out area, please have some plants, at least in the parks, or have a roof garden. Keep some indoor plants. And as I said, get up a little early, go for a morning walk, watch a sunrise, watch sunset, watch beautiful moonrise. On a full moon day, switch off all your lights, enjoy the moonlight, and so on. There are many things that we can do. And if you learn to live closely with nature, friends, you will certainly be happy. And you will be adding life to your years because you are happy, you're making others happy, you know how to be happy without spending too much of money. I need not spend money for all this. That is very important for all of us, city dwellers. So this produces very good amount of that serotonin. And one more advantage is, friends, when you have that serotonin produced in your brain, it also controls the quantum of cortisol in your body. That is the stress-giving chemical in your body. So it reduces the cortisol naturally. So obviously you are happy, you are adding life to your years. This is what we need to do. And the next chemical, the happy chemical, is called endorphin. DOSE, D-O-S-E. That E is endorphin. Endorphin is a natural painkiller. You need not spend money. You need not buy painkillers. If you can laugh wholeheartedly, your body, your brain produces endorphin, which subsides pain. I have tried this successfully, and some of my friends have tried this successfully. I'm sure all of you can try. Whenever you are in some pain, try to laugh wholeheartedly. And I tell you, I bet nothing enters your mind. In fact, I say one of the best forms of meditation is humor meditation. As long as you're laughing wholeheartedly, no other thought will enter your mind. You're totally controlling your mind. You're absolutely controlling the mind, and you are the master. Your mind is not controlling you. So this endorphin is such a useful chemical in order to make our lives comfortable and happier, to make it more joyous. So we will have to laugh. And here, friends, I always suggest T.P. Kailasam, a great humorist, a playwright, whatnot. He was an all-rounder, in the strictest sense, an all-rounder. Not like me, because Vasudeva, while introducing, said, I'm an all-rounder. Certainly not. Kailasam was the true all-rounder. He says, good sense of humor is if you can laugh with people, not at people. If you're laughing at people, it's not good humor. Laughing at self, as Kailasam says, laughing at self, making others laugh, and joining in their laughter, enjoying it, is good sense of humor. And he used to say, God has given me a very flat, big nose, so people can laugh looking at my nose. See how he makes fun of himself. And he used to also say, people may call me as typical ass. Am I? He used to ask, because he was called T.P. Kailasam. And he used to make fun of it. Typical ass. Am I? T.P. Kailasam. So that is the best form of humor. Laugh at yourself. Laugh with people. And friends, let me tell you, this life is full of humor. If you can keep your eyes open, ears open, and the mind open, there is no dearth for humor. You get it everywhere, anywhere, everywhere. Only thing is, we must have the ability to immediately understand, grasp that, and laugh with people. As long as you're laughing, as I said, nothing enters your mind. Unfortunately, today, I have seen some households where they keep laughing Buddha. And sometimes, I ask them, what is this? The house owner, without even a smile on the face, would tell me, laughing Buddha. Friends, in Feng Shui, the Vastu, the Chinese Vastu, or Japanese Vastu, they say you must keep a laughing Buddha. And they say it will bring you good luck. Please remember, by keeping a laughing Buddha, you will not get anything. Laughing Buddha is only a symbolic representation. It's only a symbol for us. And looking at laughing Buddha, we must learn to laugh. Who was laughing Buddha? Laughing Buddha was a man called Hotoi in Japan. This Hotoi, he had a very strange habit of going to a shandy, the weekly market, Sante as we used to call, of course, even now it's being revived, Sante. He would go to a shandy, select an elevated place, stand there and start laughing. For no reason, he will start laughing. And people would, gradually gather around him, looking at him, they start laughing. And a lot of people would join and everyone would start laughing. When everyone is laughing, he will quietly slip out of that place, go to another shandy, stand at an elevated place, laugh and make people laugh. So the whole purpose of his life was to make others laugh. And that is why we call him laughing Buddha. So if I keep a laughing Buddha at home, it should remind me that I must laugh when I should laugh. It's not that we should be smiling or laughing all the time. I must smile, I must laugh when I should. This is very, very important. And once I do this, obviously, the serotonin, the endorphin is produced in the body. And that would certainly reduce the pain. And that is why it is called one of the natural painkillers. Friends, essentially, there is one more book that has become very popular of late. It's once again a Japanese concept. Ikigai. Some of you must have read this book. Ikigai, it only says happiness of being busy, the joyous life by being busy. So it says, be busy. Don't idle your time. As we say, idle mind is a devil's workshop. So you must keep constantly busy. You can be thinking, you can be reading, you can be writing, you can be singing, you can be listening to music, you can be laughing, whatever it is, please be busy. Resting is fine, but rusting is not acceptable. You will have to rest. You must have that. Quality sleep is equally important in order to add life to our years. But that doesn't mean that I sleep all the while. That doesn't mean I sleep 24 hours a day. So keep yourself busy. How do I keep myself busy? This is another question that most of the elders ask me. Well, friends, if we have retired, I like one beautiful saying. I am retired, but I am not tired. You may have retired, you might have retired from your service, from your profession, but you must have some hobbies. In Kannada, we say, pravrutti, vrutti. I have a vocation. After some time, I must retire. And after retirement, I have my pravrutti, my hobby. And I must keep myself busy doing it. And that is why, friends, today psychologists say the greatest happiness is derived by serving somebody, by helping somebody. Once again, when you serve somebody, help somebody, and they express their gratitude, you feel happy. Moment you feel happy, your brain releases these chemicals. And once these chemicals are produced, you feel happy, you are joyous. That is why it is said, please develop an attitude of gratitude. An attitude of gratitude. Swami Vivekananda says, they only live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive. See how beautifully he has said this. When he says, only those who live for others are living. Others are more dead than alive. They alone live. So what he means by this is very simple. When I do something, when I think of something, I must think of others. By my act, if I am causing some discomfort to somebody, let me not do it. When I say something that would place somebody in some discomfort or embarrassment, let me not say this. But when I do something, other person feels happy, let me do it. This is what is very important. And he makes a wonderful statement. He says, one who serves Jiva serves God. So the fastest route for you to reach God is to serve. And he says, there are only two mantras for a worthy living. He says, sacrifice and service. Tyaga and seve. If we can sacrifice and serve, the happiness that we derive is extraordinary. It cannot be measured in terms of money. It cannot be measured by any such measurable terms. But the happiness that you derive is ultimate. So you are adding life to your ears. How do I do this? Friends, today people say Indians are not poor. Of course, this is an old saying, but now it has come to the surface. A lot of people talk about it. India is a rich country inhabited by poor people. When they say poor people, we are not talking about economic capabilities, economic strength of the individual, economic power of the country or the individual. They say the genuine poverty that we see among people is poverty of the mind. Poverty of the mind. I have, I can give, I can share, but I'm not ready to do it. You know, our ancestors said, when you want to give, how do you give? Tanu, mana, dhana. There are three ways by which you can offer, by which you can help people. Tanu, mana, dhana. It can be physical help. Somebody is struggling. Why not I go and give a helping hand? That is your tanu. Mana, somebody is in grief. Somebody is in some problem, some trouble. Why don't I counsel them? Why don't I show them a way out? Why don't I suggest? I don't say, advice, but you can counsel, you can suggest. And if possible, you can always chip in whatever you can monetarily, economically. So that once again gives you so much of happiness. When you help somebody and in turn they come and tell you, sir, today I have done this because of you. Don't expect anything. But when they tell you, you feel so happy. It can be a very small help. But when they tell you, you feel so happy. You have not expected anything. But you feel happy. That gratification, small things, makes you so happy. So you're adding life to your years. And once again, there is a golden principle. I wish all of us remember this. It is said, when you give, be ready to forgive. What is meant is, when you give and that person doesn't acknowledge, that person doesn't even thank you, doesn't come back and tell you, sir, for example, somebody comes and says, I must pay my examination fee. You contribute. He or she doesn't even thank you. They take the money and go. And after the exams, they don't come and tell you, sir, I took my exams. I have cleared. They don't tell you. So don't expect. But if they tell you, how do you feel? That is why it is said, when you give, be ready to forgive. Don't worry about it. They have not acknowledged, they have not thanked you. Don't worry. Forget it. But when you get, most important, when you get, don't forget. Swami Vivekananda says, two peculiar characteristics of India. Two peculiar characteristics of India. He says, hospitality and gratitude are two peculiar characteristics of our culture, Indian culture. This is highlighted in the story of Ekalavya. When Ekalavya makes a statue of Dronacharya, when Dronacharya refuses to teach him, he makes a statue, learns archery, and becomes a great archer. And when the Pandavas, particularly the Arjuna, comes to know of it, he challenges his guru, Dronacharya, and says, you told me that you will make me number one, but you have made him number one. He is so good. He is so efficient. He complains to his guru. But when Dronacharya asks Ekalavya to offer Guru Dakshina, Ekalavya very readily prostrates at the feet of Dronacharya and says, Guruji, please ask me. Full of gratitude. And Dronacharya asks for the right thumb without even a second worrying about it, thinking about it. He chops off his right thumb and offers it at the feet of Dronacharya as Guru Dakshina. Kailasam, in fact, has written a wonderful play in English, Purpose. I wish you read this if you have not, and if you have already read it, it's wonderful. Purpose. He talks about purpose of education, purpose of life. Purpose of education, friends, is not adding degrees to our life, to add quality to our life, to help others. And whatever I gain in the form of knowledge and wisdom must be of some use to somebody in the society. And that is what T.P. Kailasam suggests. And he has written this wonderful play in English, Purpose. He compares Arjuna and Ekalavya and says Arjuna was selfish. He was selfish because his only aim, only goal was to be number one. There was that what's called as the highness of I-ness, thinking about me, I. But Ekalavya never thought of himself. He always thought about his community, the cattle head of his community, and small animals, helpless animals in the jungle, like deer or rabbits or something like that, which cannot defend against the carnivorous animals, the wild animals. So he was to protect. So his whole purpose of education was something different. So he compares and says, Ekalavya was truly educated. So that must be the principle that we adopt in life. Try to help whenever you can. And you know that happiness that you derive by helping somebody who is in need. That is why we say, a friend in need is friend indeed. We must be ready. And if we can do this, essentially, I am adding life to my ears. And friends, lastly, it also has something to do with our lifestyle. In order to have a healthy life, in order to have the joy forever, as long as we are alive, it is very important that we take care of our health. How do I take care of my health? I have said about all the happy hormones. Practice all this. In addition, you must learn to manage your mind. To manage my mind, apart from whatever I have said, it is very important that you meditate. When I talk of meditation, I'm not referring to any particular method of meditation. It is for you to decide. I also told you that according to me, humor is the best form of meditation. But if you are practicing other methods, other forms of meditation, do meditate. Control your mind. And when you do this, your mental health is taken care of. Your spiritual health is taken care of. And for physical health, it depends on the nutritious food that we eat and little exercise that we do. So when you talk about your food, today, of course, you have so many websites which talks about your food, your nutritious food. So I will not dwell on that in depth. But only thing that I can request all of you is follow a healthy diet. Whatever you feel and your advisors have advised you about the healthy diet, do that. But my one request is, when you eat something, my earnest request to all of you is, when you're eating something, to me in your lunch or dinner or supper, whatever it is, please switch off your idiot box. Do not eat while watching your serials or the news or whatever it is. The idiot box must be shut. Friends, once again, when you eat mindfully. You must know what you are eating. You must have that aroma, the taste. And that is very important. If you're watching something, your mind is engrossed. Your mind is immersed in something else, and you're physically filling your stomach. You don't know what you're eating. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're saying. So please don't do this. This must be a rule in order to add life. And I always suggest parents, that is the time that you can spend with your children. So allow them to talk. Allow them to share their experiences of the day with you. Make it a habit. Do not even use your mobile phones. Your mobiles can wait. Your TV serials can wait. Anything and everything can wait, unless it is some emergency. So if you can follow this, obviously you're enjoying. And that is what is very, very important. Our ancestors said, to sum up, they said, your vichara, vihara, ahara. Your vichara, your vihara, your ahara must be healthy, must be clean, must be pure. So all that we talked about, when I say love, it must be pure love. You are thinking of something, your thoughts must be pure. And if you can do this, obviously, your heart is filled with pure emotions. And your brain is filled with a lot of happy enzymes, happy chemicals. You stay happy, which means, you're adding life to your yes. And this is what is fundamentally essential. And finally, I request all of you to have one healthy hobby. Any one healthy hobby. It can be reading, it can be listening to music, it can be singing, it can be gardening, it can be trekking, whatever it is. Please have a very healthy hobby. And I'm sure you will enjoy your life because you'll be adding life to your. Yes. And I, for one, suggest, I have already told you this in a nutshell. Please go to nature, spend some time in nature. I, for one, as a naturalist, amateur naturalist, I tell people, please go out. And according to me, bird watching is one of the very healthy hobbies, very inexpensive hobby, and you will reap all the benefits of all the healthy chemicals that would be released in your brain, and you will be adding life to your ears. That is my wish. So friends, with this, I conclude my presentation with the permission of Mr. and Mrs. Vasudev, and we can have about the next 5 or 10 minutes for question and answer. And I will try my best to answer to my best of my abilities. So friends, thank you very much. And as I told you, today is World Happiness Day. So let us resolve to be happy and make others happy. And as I told you, the definition of success is you are a successful person if you have made one person happy a day, including today, every day. That must be our motive. And that's how we add life to our years. So, thank you. God bless you.